Okay. Welcome all to Sprint 2 Planning. I will share my screen. So, earlier this morning, I had a sync with the team and we were discussing about the tasks we think we should add so as to attain the MVP. So some of them are from the feedback we got during the demo on Friday. For example, there's fixing the login as the product owner suggested. So that is one of the issues that we added. Then another one is creating a new implementation dictionary, which was carried from Sprint 1. Then something else we thought could make the product more viable is having protected access to some URLs so that we ensure there is authentication after someone logging in, then some routes should be protected so that they are not accessed if someone is not logged in. Then the fact that one member is working on creating the dictionary, there should be need for a user to retrieve the created dictionaries to get them back and see what they created. Also, the user should be able to update those dictionaries. The user should also be able to delete. Basically, the user should do the CRUD or the manipulation on their information. Then some other important thing we came up with was that we need to integrate linting on continuous integration, and we can do this using Prettier so as to produce better code. So it will be done and added to the Travis file so that Travis first checks for linting errors before it goes ahead to the tests. Then some other tasks that we thought about, and there is implementing search for the public concept dictionaries, because when you refer to the traditional OCL, there was a search where even initially before you log in, someone could search for I think the dictionaries were public. I should be corrected on that if I'm wrong. So we saw also the user should be able to search, because the more people create, the more it becomes the information is big and much, so there's need for search. And then another thing we have in backlog is working on the Django authentication so as to ensure the users of our OCL for OpenMRS log in using their username and their password. So I think I will stop sharing the screen. Maybe to the product owner, Darius. So those are some of the tickets or the tasks we came up with through our thinking that we think might contribute to making the MVP. So would like to welcome your priority tasks that you would like this Sprint 2 to accomplish.
I think that those probably sound like the correct tasks, or those seem like the priority things. The one thing I would point out is that there's probably a need to, well, a lot of them are around the idea, you have the CRUD tasks for dictionaries.
Yes.
And those are going to require probably, well, they will require probably adding a new REST resource on the OCL server. Or so I think my suggestion for how to implement these is that we should introduce a new REST resource on the OCL server to represent these dictionaries. And so that's going to be a key for all of them. And that's sort of a technical task that may end up blocking. Basically, I think there's going to be a lot of dependency between the major tasks that are in this sprint. So maybe that's okay that some of the things like adding linting and so forth can be done in parallel as this resource gets worked on. But my concern is just that there might be a little bit of dependencies and people won't be able to work independently. Although maybe it's okay for maybe it's okay for some pairing to happen also.
Yeah. Actually, that can also happen. So, in the OCL API, the server end, there's no endpoint to allow creation of dictionaries.
Correct.
Okay.
There are two different, because a dictionary is sort of made up of two different things on the server right now. A source and a collection.
Okay.
Mic check.
Check.
Actually, we had that discussion with Chris today earlier on, and I was a bit confused because both the source and the collection appear to be having similar information that is on the current REST API, and both of them appear to be missing a source. Like asking, like, in the new endpoint that we are creating, does that mean that we'll take into consideration all the information you have from the collection and add a source to it?
So the idea is that the source would be where we put all of our custom concepts. So anything that's not chosen from a shared dictionary. And we would have a source for where we put all of our custom concepts, and then we would have a collection which is going to include everything from that source plus all of the other concepts that we've chosen from other dictionaries. Does that make sense? I pasted a link to where I've written something about this in the Google Doc.
So I think we could change the name to creating a source. Since you have that endpoint, then so that we just consume the existing endpoint that helps one to create the source.
The goal is to, in fact, the goal is actually to be able to create a dictionary, which is this new thing. The traditional OCL UI would let you create a source, but the goal here is to sort of create this new thing, which is a composite of a source and a dictionary. So I think it's important to create this new REST endpoint.
Oh, okay.
Is it then correct to say that priority from first doing the CRUD to first doing the endpoint, that is the REST API? That is just altering the source API to accommodate the source.
I think the priority will be creating a new REST endpoint that represents this dictionary, a new endpoint that we'll call dictionary. And under the hood, that takes care of manipulating a source and a collection.
Okay. So I remember last Friday, you were saying, even for the authentication, it might need the new endpoints. So you said that we shall have to communicate to the devs who develop the API. So I think the same will apply if we are to add another endpoint for the dictionary. We shall need to also contact the people who did the API. So how do we go about that?
Yeah, I do think we'll get some review. So in this case, this one is going to be a little bit more independent, as in authentication, changing the authentication approach probably involves making changes that affect other OCL, like other implementations of OCL, other users of OCL rather, versus this new dictionary REST endpoint is going to be entirely independent. So we do have to get some review about it before it gets sort of merged to their master or deployed to their production of OCL. But I think it's mostly something that is under, I mean, it's an independent piece of work. So the way we will do that is, I think we'll probably create a new, we should create a new talk thread in OpenMRS talk about adding a dictionary endpoint to the OCL API, and we'll invite John Payne to participate in that thread, and he can get any other relevant developers to join as well.
Okay, thank you.
Could we then more or less restrict the tasks for this sprint to be design of the UI for most of the endpoints, and work on creation of the endpoints, because most of this sprint probably will be able to achieve the UI rather than the actual functionality until the REST endpoint is complete.
That's true.
That's a possibility, although I'd rather, I mean, I'd lean towards not sort of having a UI that doesn't have a backend to it yet. Is there anything, are there other things we could pull in, like to do with searching? Because I think that searching is independent and is like searching through existing concepts to find the concepts we want to pull in or something like that.
Reka niba yageze ku rugi. Telefone ntayiriho?
Sorry, Darius, I didn't get you clearly.
Yeah, sorry. Are there any, could we instead pull in a story that has to do with searching? For example, searching for the concepts that you want to add. You had mentioned a story about searching dictionaries. I wasn't sure if you meant, I wasn't sure if you meant searching through the dictionaries for the concepts within them, or searching for the dictionaries themselves.
Like the way the traditional OCL is, there's where like a user someone would just search even before login. I don't know what like you'd put diabetes and then it lists, I'm not sure what that was. So I think there were dictionaries, concept dictionaries. So that's the search we are thinking about. That's why it was in the backlog. Maybe you can expound on it.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just skimming through the mockups to see whether we're so right. So I mean, we are going to ultimately want a screen that looks quite similar to the OCL search screen, but perhaps is a little bit simpler. And ultimately, the actions you'll do in this screen are to sort of, I mean, basically, you would be searching within a source or someone else's dictionary. Oh, sorry, you'd be searching, within a source or a collection, probably within just one, and then the results, you can filter them, and then once you have those results, basically you can add them to your dictionary or preview them. And so ultimately the screen will be sort of accessible from our screen, or sorry, from the dictionary itself, but I think it could probably be worked on independently.
So if it is worked on independently before the endpoints that create dictionaries, meaning we shall search for the sources probably, because the dictionaries won't be created yet.
Correct. I mean, so in this case, you wouldn't really be able to have the add to my dictionary button, you know, until the dictionary endpoint is ready for this. But you could still actually search the CL dictionary.
Okay. So the way forward is to work on that endpoint, to create a thread on talk. And could you remind me the name of the person you're supposed to invite?
Jonathan Payne, Payne.
Okay.
I think his username is PayneJD.
Okay. Okay, so thank you. So that's what we are going to do. And the search, probably some people will pair on it and others might pair on that endpoint after seeing what Jonathan says and the linting. Yeah. So we shall keep you updated on talk on the progress about this sprint.
Mm-hmm. And just to clarify about creating a talk thread. So what I think I mean, it's okay to create the talk thread first and say we'd like to get started, but we shouldn't be waiting. We don't need to wait for them to sort of say okay before proceeding with the design. The idea is to immediately start designing. This is what we think the REST endpoint should look like.
Okay.
Like this is the API we expected to have. This is this is what happens when you do a GET and what the return format looks like, etc.
Okay.
It should be it should feel consistent with the REST endpoints that exist already. But of course, it's not going to be exactly the same.
Okay. Any other priorities you might think of?
I mean, I think that's probably enough.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, anyone else among the devs and Lulanjira who has a task they think we should add on?
Yeah, I think for me, I'll have to go through the document, the Google document that Darius shared. And I think my proposal will be to create ticket following the structure we have in that document. Seems currently we can only create tickets that we can work on based on the endpoint we currently have in the OCL, in the Open Concept Lab web app. So I think I'll have to go through this document and also the tickets and see what I can suggest.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So and this week I'll be available. So I think it will be a good time to work together. So make sure that you copy me in every ticket and the thread you post on talk. So,
oh, okay. What was the email?
So let me send it to you.
Okay.
I'll just share it with everyone here.
Okay. Shall keep you posted. So for the devs, anything else?
None from me.
Okay.
None from me too.
Nothing from me.
Okay. Well, anything?
I'm still digesting, but for now, I don't have any other questions.
Okay. So I think we get started with the communication, as Darius has said. And then the priority, we've seen it, search. But I think it's a big task. It might need pair programming. So we're going to do that. So if there is nothing else, I think we can call it a sprint planning.
Sure. Let me just mention something about search, which is not necessarily in the mockups yet, because, well, so what's in here right now in this mockup is searching through one specific source that's already been selected. And I do think we're going to need to do that. Also, eventually we would like to be able to search through multiple sources at a time, like search through all of the preferred sources for all of the preferred sources for your dictionary.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's actually supported. So I think while looking at this, someone can take a look at the API that's there. I know that the APIs support searching through one source and also searching through the entire OCL, like all of the public dictionaries or all of the public sources. And yeah, but I don't know if it supports just searching through one thing, or sorry, searching through more than one, but less than all of them.
Actually, I'm wondering, before you search through the sources, meaning you must have sources there. So now this makes me pose a question. Don't we need also to create the sources?
We don't, because we're leveraging the data that already exists and is created through OCL already.
Oh, okay.
Right. So this would correspond to the fact that when we create a new dictionary, we've said that its preferred source is CIEL.
Yeah.
And that CIEL dictionary already exists. Or sorry, the CIEL source already exists.
Yeah.
One other thing, actually, I should add. We need to support searching through a source and also searching through a collection.
Okay.
As in, someone might have created a collection already called tuberculosis starter set or something, which has just what they think are the important concepts related to tuberculosis, but they're already sort of selected just as a subset from
So those are like two kinds of search.
Yeah, I think we want our UI to be the same for them.
Okay, the same as the traditional.
No, sorry, our UI. So let's see. In our UI, if you're searching through a source or searching through a collection,
yes,
I think it should look the same.
Okay, I think we need to revisit the traditional to see.
Yeah, it should look the same as each other in our UI. They can be guided by what the traditional one looks like, but I'm not saying they have to look like the traditional UI.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying that the user shouldn't have to care really if they're searching through a source or a collection.
Okay.
Once they've picked it, once they've picked the place they want to search from, we should just give them the same search UI.
Okay. Yeah, so we are going to work on that, and I think we shall reach out to you most of the times. Because I think the tasks are so serious. Yeah.
Mic check, Darius.
Check, Shakira.
Yes, I was inquiring about the uniform UI for the search for both the collections and sources. Also, the outputs, should they appear on the same page or they should be in different, okay, like appear on the same page but have a tag of either collection and source, or they should all like appear in different interfaces? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's a good, so I guess, so in the first pass, so for the story to work on this week, or sorry, this iteration, I would just work on, you're searching through one thing at a time. You're either searching through one source or you're searching through one collection. So you're only going to get results from one place.
Okay.
Eventually, we would allow searching across multiple. You could search across, like say, all of your preferred sources and collections. And then we would need to do, then your question would be relevant for that next sort, for that later story. And in that case, yeah, I do think you'd search and then we just show the results next to each other in the same screen.
Okay, I get it now.
Okay.
And I can show, yeah. Sorry, I'm finding a couple links to paste. I just pasted some links to a screen to search through a source and to search through a collection. And actually their UI in OCL is quite similar, in the traditional OCL is quite similar.
Yeah, I can see.
It's just, our search is not going to have, well, we don't need to show the same sort of dictionary information at the top. We won't be doing anything but versions and so forth. And we'll make the search, the box where you actually type the thing you want to search for, more obvious where it is.
Oh.
But basically, so that, I mean, there is sort of already, as someone said, there already are these REST endpoints for collection and for source, which probably have pretty similar search functionality.
Yeah.
And we will just, so it's fine. So we can use those.
Oh. And I've seen some pagination there. I think they were doing search with pagination at the same time.
Yes, I think we are going to need pagination because if you look at the CIEL dictionary, there's 50,000 concepts in it. So it's quite possible that some searches end up with a lot of results. Oh, and also, the way these work right now is when you select the thing in the first place, you can see all the concepts. And that's probably good. We want that as well.
Okay.
Mic check, Darius.
Not
Could
all.
you
You
repeat your
can see the
last
first page.
statement? I didn't get
Yes.
it.
So if you click on either of those links that I sent, right, even before you've done any searching, it's showing you the first page of results for the entire thing. So like if you click on the CL one, it'll show you, showing results 1 to 25 of 51,000 concepts. We do want that kind of behavior as well.
All right, I get it.
One other thing to point out that has been specifically requested is in the traditional OCL UI, if you go and you check boxes on the left side to like to filter things down, the way it works in traditional OCL, that is not applied until you go and hit the search button again, but it's not intuitive and it's confusing. So we either need to introduce an apply filters button, or else it needs to automatically happen on the fly as soon as you check something.
All right, I've tested it out, and yeah, that's something good that won't frustrate the users. Okay, so what it would be like for the next sprint, or implementing it during this sprint? Like,
This sprint, according to the situation, I think we should work on the search as Darius has advised, but we first search through one source or one collection, like we do that simple search. Then as we go on, because it's also some good work to be done, search with pagination. As we go on, we can do the multiple search.
okay.
Excuse me. So I think it makes sense to start with these ones, the search functionalities, since we are going to wait for the others for when the endpoints will be available. So on my side, I will also suggest that we start with this search in this sprint, the search feature, and see if by the end of it we'll have the endpoints available for the other functionalities.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Okay, we shall keep both of you in the room.
So you're going to create ticket. You are going to create ticket for these functionalities and add those to the sprint, to this current sprint.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So, anything else? So if that's all, I think everyone is free to jump off the call. Thanks for being around for Sprint 2 planning. We hope to meet again demoing what we've promised to work on this week. Have a nice evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, you too.
Thanks.
Thank you too.